You're listening to the Cast of Champions on the Bold Castify Radio Network. Welcome to the Cast of Champions. How y'all doing? This is Mark, a.k.a. BCB Markopedia.
Robert, slacking cracking.
All right, New Decker, what's up with the rumor report this week?
Well, TNA apparently doesn't have enough money to do their next pay-per-view, Bound for Glory. A couple $1 million in debt. There's no real word if Corgan has any money on the table. The only other thing I've heard is WWE's interest in just buying the video library. I really think it would be smarter if they did what they did with ECW and just kind of bankrolled them for a little bit to get back on their feet. But in this stage of the game, I mean, I don't know what's going to happen. I mean, you have so many independent companies right now that are so much better. PWG, Ring of Honor, even CCW was better.
Yeah, the only thing is, the only one that has a semi-national television contract for those who don't do internet streaming is TNA of that bunch.
But who has Pop TV? No one. And like I told you earlier today, thanks to WWE, streaming is the thing, because I don't have to have cable. I just have to have an internet connection. I can watch whatever I want.
I know.
I mean, Ring of Honor, you wait 1 week, you get to watch that episode. That's what I did. Monday morning, turn on ringofhonor.com, watch my episode of Ring of Honor, which, by the way, The Kingdom is coming back.
Yes. Unfortunately, it's not the other two guys.
I'm happy about it. It needs to be reinvented. I think a smart move. I'm going to see where that goes. Great episode. Other than that, there's really no other big news that I can think of.
Yeah, I mean, in the case of TNA, it's like Corgan, from what I hear, is the only one putting up any money, and also, as I said, I'd like to see ROH or PWG or somebody merge with them.
No.
I know you said earlier it would never happen.
That would damage their brands.
One more rumor mill. I'm hearing that WWE is interested in Mr. Broken Matt Hardy.
That's true. I'd probably just relive the old glory days in the ladder match with his brother against another, Attitude Era-esque team. I'm assuming it's going to be a one-shot. I think it's a bad idea for Matt Hardy right now. So he has full reign of TNA. Mm-hmm. I mean, literally, he has a random gardener.
Senor Benjamin.
His wife and his kid and his brother, they're getting to do whatever they want, however they want. It's probably the best time he's had since he's had his own promotion.
Yeah, since version 1 and all that, yeah. All right, well, that was your rumor report for this week. Next up, we're going to cover a little something called the Clash of Champions, which unfortunately, in my opinion, was a complete crapping of the bed.
And so bad, they just revisited almost every single match on Raw.
Yeah. They had, here was the card. Nia Jax going over Foxy, or Alicia Fox.
Yeah, that should have been a pre-show.
That's basically a jobber match. Then you had the New Day going over to Bullet Club. Wrong decision.
Well, really, Matt, I don't really understand. I understand they want them to have a long title run. They deserve to have a very long title run, but, not to go through 2 different shows, but then the club to still lose on Raw was ridiculous. There's no point to have that match again. Even though Kofi got busted open and he still finished the match, it was an awesome match, but really bad finish.
We'll go over the rematch in a little bit. Then, let's see, we had TJ Perkins going over to the Brian Kendrick, which the Brian Kendrick shouldn't have even been in that match, personally, in my opinion.
They're doing it because they want a veteran that has mic skills. They're really iffy on anyone that they've hired because they're basing all the storylines off of CWC that had no story.
And
based off of fanfare. And now they're paying into the corner where they're giving them 30 minutes a week with nothing to do.
Yeah.
So they really need to start spinning their wheels, figure something out, because it's not the guy's fault at this point. It's creative dropping the ball.
Yeah, and TJ Perkins actually does have mic skills if you give him a chance.
They all do. But the problem is, will they allow him to do it? Rick Swann is the best out of the bunch on the mic, and they have yet to let him be himself.
Exactly. Then, moving on from that, we'll explain the plight of the cruiserweights later. Cesaro and Sheamus, really, they turded the bed on that one, too.
Well, I mean, he did get dropped directly on his neck. I'm happy the man can walk.
Who, Cesaro?
Yeah.
Yeah, but still, they turded the bed with that whole deal.
Yeah, we'll talk a little bit more about what they did on Raw, which I didn't think even feasible. I heard on a couple other podcasts people thought it, and I just thought it was such a bad idea it never happened, but
And I told you last week, if WWE can find a way to mess up something, they probably will.
Yeah, well, there's rumors thanks to Twitter. Brian wants them to come to SmackDown Cesaro. So let's hope they do that because it's too early for a tag team. Maybe in a couple months I could see it, but it's just too early. People are still...
Yeah, and Cesaro is one of my top 3 guys that I wish would just get a push. Yep. And the next one, you had Jericho going over El Generico.
Which was smart. And
Very smart.
Well, I'm happy you actually agree for once because you have to build Generico, which he's always been his whole career. He's been the underdog. He's had all the build in the world, but no matter what, every match he had to claw back up. And having that program with Jericho just builds him up. And I really, like I said, in probably about a year, you're going to see him as a world champion. I'm thinking SmackDown.
I'm not really seeing that, but maybe an Intercontinental or
I see world champion in a year.
Or
if Roman Reigns can hold the title more than once, he can hold it.
Then next up, you had Charlotte going over Sasha and Bayley, going over Sasha Banks and Bayley.
I think it was a smart move. Honestly, I think having Sasha go over in a singles match means more, and I think that's what they're building towards.
Surprisingly, I agree with you.
Now, one thing I should have said in the rumor mill is that Dana Brooks is apparently going to get a big face push very soon.
What, are they going to turn on Charlotte?
That's what I'm hearing. Now, I think it's going to happen the next pay-per-view, which is going to give Sasha the title, and then it gives Charlotte something to go to, and Charlotte's wanting to take time off as well. Mm-hmm. So it makes sense, and they do need some more faces, because Sasha's not a true face. She's more of a tweener. You have Bayley, who's a face.
There's a white meat baby face, if you want to use
like I've already said, she's like a good mix of Macho Man and Eugene in a female body. I don't mean that in the wrong way, but that's who she is.
She is the embodiment of the old school white meat baby face in woman form.
And it works. It really does.
Surprisingly for her, it does. Next up, you had Reigns going over Rusev. I did not want to see Reigns go over Rusev.
I didn't want to see the match. I didn't want to see the match. They do not mix well.
I actually am a fan of Rusev, but I don't like that mix at all.
I'm a fan to an extent that they want him to have more mic skills and screaming nonsense than Ramley saying a Russian word. If they would have a Damian Sandow-style Russian, he would be gold. But they're not going to do that, so I just do not enjoy it. Now, his wife is hot, and there was actually on Twitter that was blowing up because a dude was very pervy videotaping her butt the entire time she was out there. How security did not throw that man out is beyond me. But hey,
don't trust me.
I guess they asked for him to send the video to them too, I guess.
I've been to an NXT show where somebody did that with Alexa Bliss's ass, but I don't blame them. Then finally the main event, Kevin Steen or Kevin Owens going over Tyler Black, Seth Rollins.
Great match, great finish. I think it was a smart move because you're not sure if Stephanie was trying to screw him over. It doesn't seem it, but you had Triple H at the end. I just think it was smart booking. And they're trying to build him as a face, Rollins, but the fact is they have him still as a heel, angry that the heel boss turned on him. They have not pushed him as a face yet. They just have him as an angry heel and another heel. They need to work on what they want him to be. My
problem with that is right now, I heard a rumor that Seth Rollins got hurt in that match, too.
He did because of the rib breaker off the rope. It didn't land right because Owens slipped. And he has some bruised ribs.
I heard they were broken, but
I'm pretty sure they're just bruised the way he's moving. I mean, he might not, and they might be broken, but he did not wince at all. He was running all over the place. I mean, I'm assuming they're bruised, or they would have pretty much killed the storyline and let him stay home.
All right. Well, that was our analysis of the Clash of Champions. Moving on to the Monday night show,
a.k.a. Clash of Champions Revisited.
Thank you. You had Rusev and Reigns open the show.
It was like a 30-minute fight that, was a count out. It really felt like, we know we're probably going to fail in the ratings, so we're just going to do something for the live crowd. Problem is that neither guy is over, so it's pointless. I almost turned off the show.
Yeah. Then you had the Foley segment with Sheamus and Cesaro.
Foley can cut a promo about a burning bag of dog poop, and I would believe it. He really tried to push it, but the problem is that Sheamus is at a point with his rooster haircut And the fact that he has not evolved since the first day in WWE, that he has nowhere to go. And they're trying to make a tag team. It's just too soon. I think in a month it could work, but they need to move one guy to another show, then maybe do it later. It's just not going to work right now.
What, they're going to call it the You Look Stupid Parade with Sheamus's, red rooster haircut and...
I mean, Cesaro has to be jealous since he can't do anything on the top of his head.
And Cesaro's shoulder tape?
He's almost a mummy right now from WCW. You remember that skit? The mummy? Another week he's going to be that. I just hope he doesn't do that strange bear hug. With
No. And then you had the New Day going over to Bullet Club again.
Bad move. I mean, I give Kofi all the credit in the world because he got busted open nasty. I think it took 14 stitches.
Yeah.
I thought Big E was hurt because he was selling pretty hard on the outside. Great match. I do not agree with the finish. I think they're just trying to have a really big babyface run because it's been a really long time.
Too long. They should have had him drop it to the Wyatts months ago. But
that's my point. Is the fact of when's the last time you had a very long babyface run with the tag team titles? It has been
the Usos.
I'm
the
talking
Usos
about
were
a
long
babyface
too.
team that care. They had the tag titles because there's no one, and they didn't care about the titles. Right?
They had the Wyatts that they could have pushed back then.
The Wyatts didn't need it. We've had this conversation on every single show. We're not going back there.
Okay, good.
Let's go to the next match, sir.
Bayley over a jobber.
I think it was a waste of time.
Time waster match, definitely.
I don't think it helped Bayley. I think it hurt her in the end because she has advanced herself beyond a jobber match. And for her to face someone random was pointless. I think a backstage segment of her pushing herself would have did better. Her beating a jobber that botched and did not know how to throw a punch, and her trying to carry her, which she had trouble doing, just hurt her.
It did. Then you had some cruiserweight action here. Cedric Alexander and Rich Swann going over Drew Gulak and Lince Dorado.
Drew Gulak was the highlight of the match. I think the biggest issue, like we talked about earlier, was there's no storylines, there's no character building. He's like, this happened on CWC, watch it on the network. But there was no storylines on CWC. You based everything off the indies, which you're now on the main stage, which not everybody understands everybody.
And not everybody knows everybody on this crowd, too.
So Creative has really dropped the ball, and it angers me. I'm a big fan of everybody. Even Drew Gulak, at a point, he was actually a trainer at Shikara, I found out, before he came to WWE. And I really like the fact that they took the time to say Lince was trained by Cesaro. I love, it still amazes me they take the time to go, there's something besides WWE. Did you know that?
Yep.
It still amazes me.
Only good thing they've done. And then another one, they had TJ Perkins going over Tony Nese, which I've liked both of those guys for a while.
And you could tell who the heel, the face was. Great chemistry, great storytelling, which was really missed in the tag team match. So they can build, they can look at that and go, oh, this is what we can do. It's just like the main event guy, but they can actually move and do a backflip. Maybe we should actually take some time with this instead of just throwing them out there and hope they don't break their neck, because it's going to fail unless they actually put some time into it. And at this point, after looking at the title, that looks like a toned-down Divas Championship.
With dudes.
With dudes. That's really what it reminds me of. It's not just because it's purple. It's just a horrible design. No forethought. It's just, I'm really scared to see where it goes. I'm a big fan of everyone they've hired, and right now they're just treating it like it doesn't matter. Then
they had Cesaro and Sheamus go over to two NXT guys.
Which should never been on TV. They botched. They were horrible. I love the Jay Cutler comment. It was either the bodybuilder or the football player, hoping they were not related to him. I think his name was Steve Cutler.
Steve Cutler, who has been on a few televised matches with NXT. He's actually not bad at all.
Well, he didn't show
reality.
He did not. I guess he had the jitters or something.
It's his first time ever on Raw.
Well, he's not going to be back for a while.
Well, he probably won't be back for at least a year because they were starting to finally give him some airtime on NXT recently.
That ain't happening now. It's not happening now.
The other guy, I think, was a Performance Center guy.
Yeah, the guy with the really bad receding hairline.
Yeah, was a Performance Center guy.
Yeah, he needs to shave his head. That's just not a good look.
And then you had Charlotte and Sasha's.
I'm actually happy with Charlotte. I think her mic skills are
she's getting better.
About a lower tier Ric Flair. She's really getting better on the mic. She knows her spots. She knows how to antagonize the crowd. I mean, she's not the best that she could be, But I'm saying probably about 3 months, you're going to see a true heel. And based off of that, she might be able to pull a decent face off, too, because she's starting to really get comfortable. I know she's wanting to take some time off, supposedly, which I think would be good for her and her character, because she's been the workhorse of that whole division, which isn't fair, because there's plenty more people to carry the weight, and they need to treat Sasha, Bayley, everyone better than what they do. It's not just Charlotte. I mean, which I still think is David Flair with a top on, but I might be wrong.
With boobs. David Flair with boobs.
She does not have boobs.
Basically, here's the thing. The difference between NXT and WWE, who has the money and who runs the show. And in the case of NXT, Triple H runs the show. Triple H has a big appreciation for women's wrestling. Whereas on, the main rosters, mostly you have Vince has final say.
I'm going to have to correct you, sir, because Triple H runs pretty much both shows. He has full control of NXT, and he has to run a couple things behind Vince McMahon. Vince McMahon is almost completely given the reins to Triple H, Stephanie, and Shane. He has very little control, especially since he's had his surgery from working out. It's pretty much the kids' show. The problem is that they're still running by the Vince McMahon formula because they want to respect him. And he has changed a lot, but where they're going right now is really stifling the women's division
and the cruiserweights.
So they really need to open their eyes.
2 old Vince deals.
Yeah, because the old Vince way is dead.
And as I said, he doesn't like it. He basically still sees women's matches as bra and panties matches and still sees cruiserweights as little flippy guys. That's always how Vince has seen them, though.
I would say he says the women's division as a bathroom break and the cruiserweights as to get the kids pumped up for the main event.
Little flippy guys.
So I think he has changed his view on the women's division because they have proven themselves. Honestly, I enjoyed the women's division more than the main roster.
Surprisingly, I actually agree with you.
Which I've always felt that way. Women's wrestling has the ability to beat the men 9 times out of 10 because they can tell a story better, and they just never really got the opportunity.
And now they finally
the
do.
Stage, and they've proven that NXT, and they've proven it on SmackDown, and a couple Raw matches.
Yeah. Then finally, you had Jericho going over Team Soft.
Great match.
In their highlight reel.
I really like how Chris Jericho fed him the Santa Claus line. And then he was like, "Oh, I didn't say that." And Owens had to come in and say, "Well, I'll just punch you in the face." Great mic skills, great stuff. The match was great. I loved how Kevin Owens took the time to do the Enzo dance on the apron back and forth and talk smack back and forth. It was the best match of the night by far. For the last 3 weeks, I think it was the best match. And the big boot to Jericho off the top rope, it was perfect. That was pretty much, I think, was the best match of the night.
Well, that's pretty much our coverage for Clash of Champions Revisited. So we go from that to, unfortunately, the possibly
deleted TNA.
It's about to fade away and classify itself as.
We do have some breaking news. Since SmackDown is about to start momentarily, they have announced that AJ Styles and Dean Ambrose will be going against each other. Styles will be defending the World Championship versus Dean Ambrose
on tonight's show.
I did read that. That's going to be good. I know Dean Ambrose is wanting to take time off, so I hope he doesn't leave the title.
I'm going to presume it's going to be predictable. AJ Styles, some
style
screw
clash.
Job ending, or
I want to be a style clash onto the steel steps. That's what I want.
So do I. But then we go from Raw to the possibly fade away and classify itself as obsolete, deleted TNA. First segment we have is Drew Galloway and Eddie Edwards. The championship
Edwards
deal.
is really in the same position he was in Ring of Honor as a single petter. He has really bad mic skills, has a lot of ability in the ring, but he gets lost on the mic. And Galloway, they don't know what to do with the man. He is above TNA, and they just kind of go, "Here you go. I don't know what to do with you." And then he's just stuck in a match, and he's just sitting there brooding with a beard. That's literally all that man does.
Then you had Allie and Maria, Allie, a.k.a. Cherry Bomb from the Independent
Who's
Circuit.
getting buried in TNA.
Oh, yeah. Because she doesn't have any mic skills, and her voice sounds like a squeaky, like the nails on a chalkboard mess.
She reminds me of Smurfette that can do a backflip.
Yeah, they don't let her really wrestle either.
No, they're treating her like a secretary that put on a leotard that had the championship once, that shouldn't have had it, but she really wants to be a wrestler, which is bad.
Because she does have way more ability
It's
than
sexist, honestly. It's sexist storytelling.
Yeah,
she deserves a lot more.
Maria Connolly's really is not a wrestler.
She's not, but her mic skills beat most men in this industry.
Yes. Then you had, The Miracle and Bobby Lashley having their little segment.
Which, The Miracle carried Lashley.
Yeah, which problem is they don't really have anything for him as well. Then you have Sandow and Eli Drake in the other qualifier match for this new championship.
That makes no sense, which is a waste of time, but the belt looks nice.
Yeah. Damian Sandow, or Aaron Rex as they're calling him now, going over Eli Drake.
I think it was his first televised match, wasn't it?
I think it's his second.
Second? Okay.
Yeah, second.
Very forgettable, as I figured.
Yeah. Eli Drake.
No one cares about him. They haven't cared since his little group with Galloway.
Then you had the Decay and the Hardys segment.
I think there's just too much of it. It's getting oversaturated to a point which I don't know why people should still care.
Yeah, which is sad because
I know it's the best thing they have right now, but when you shove it down someone's throat with long-witted segments and there's video packages and they're always there, you can't have, like, with Sting just showing up randomly on Nitro every week and people eating it up. It's not
like Crow Sting coming from the
rafters.
rafters.
That's how everyone wants to treat it. It's like, this is all we have. Let's just do a segment here, do a segment here. It's not Rosemary's fault. It's not Matt Hardy's fault. It's just the fact that there's nothing else on the show.
Or Crazy Steve or Abyss. Because actually Crazy Steve and Abyss, to me, are very talented
they're doing great
guys.
Stuff. This is the best stuff Abyss has done in his entire career, honestly.
I've always liked Abyss. I know you don't, but
I didn't like
I always
him in
thought...
Indies. I didn't like him in TNA, but the stuff he's doing with Decay, he's comfortable, he's happy, you can see he's enjoying himself. Since the Chris Park stuff, best stuff he's done. But the fact is, they had nothing else on the show to make you want to watch besides this one little segment, and that gets to a point where you're tired of watching it and you quit tuning in.
Had he gone to WWE, I think in 06...
He would have been married, and he'd be working at Gate Gas Station.
You really believe that? Because they had him go... I think he could have been the next Kane at one point. But now he's just...
I want you to take that back right now. He might have carried Kane's bag, or might have laid down for Christian, but he would never have been the next Kane. There will only be one Kane, and that's a fact.
All right. Hot take. Then, of course, you had the Damian Sandow, Drew Galloway segment.
They're trying to build him as the next god of TNA, and it's just not going to happen.
Who, Sandow?
Yes.
Well, you mean the intellectual savior of TNA?
And they're not even letting him, like, I hope he's not writing his own material because it's so bad.
I don't think he is.
If he was, it might get across better because it just doesn't feel natural. It feels very forced. And like he's being told, well, you can't say this, and he wants you to go this direction, and he's just kind of like, why didn't I stay on the Indies? Oh, that's right, because I was stupid and signed a contract for money. That's really where he's sitting right now, which, if it's based off of Bobby Roode, I doubt he's gotten a dime yet.
Then the next one, you have arguably the most anticipated debut in pro wrestling, if it actually happens. The Game Changer, Cody Rhodes.
It's actually just Cody, because he cannot use the name Rhodes, thanks to WWE.
But his wife is Brandy Rhodes.
Yeah,
she's going to use that.
Well, she can. The fact that he can't is because it's tied to his dad. He does not want to go by Reynolds. He actually feels he's not related to the name Reynolds. He said it in a podcast. I cannot remember the gentleman's name. I apologize. But basically that he's always felt himself as a Rhodes, not a Reynolds. And he refuses to come up with a second name. He might go by Cody R, but he's going to stick with the name Cody, which I think is smart because, I mean, people know who he is, so there's no reason to call him Cody Bullwinkle or something. It's just pointless.
Oh, yeah. People already know he's Cody Runnels, Cody Rhodes.
Or
everybody knows.
Cody Dusty Star, some, stupid, ridiculous crap.
Cody Stardust or something like that. Then you had Moose and EC3's little segment.
Waste of time. EC3 buried him, but tried to carry him.
Yeah, and then you had the X Division match. DJ Z versus Trevor Lee.
which, just like the Cruiserweight division on Raw, they just do not know what to do, and they expect them to be able to carry a segment and have all these views, but they don't allow them to build any stories, and that's why they lost a lot of people. Is because, yes, it's a paycheck, but they are artists in the ring, and they want to be able to do what they want to do, build a story, and just because I can do a backflip or do a sweet DDT doesn't mean that's what I want to do. I want to have a story. I want to be able to be viewed in a certain light. And DJ Z
is actually good. I like Zemayon. I've always liked Zemayon.
But where's his character right now? He looks like a metrosexual glacier when he comes out. That's all I noticed. No offense to him, but that's what his gear looks like. And I don't know if he's a tweener, a good guy, bad guy. I don't know because there's no story.
He's kind of face right now, I believe. He's.
But that's my fault. That's my exact point. He's kind of face, I believe, because you don't know. Because there's no story. He's not going after anybody. There's no heat. There's nothing.
Now Trevor Lee is definitely a heel right now.
But who are they going after? What's his issue? Oh, that's right. Because he is managed by Shane Helms. That's all they got.
Yeah.
That's stupid.
Yeah.
It hurts the industry. Trevor Lee's great. He actually was the last match Kevin Owens had on PWG. Yeah. Awesome match. He beat Kevin Steen on PWG for his farewell match. Yeah. That just shows how much faith Steen had in him. And now, right now, he's a heel because he's managed by a heel, I guess.
By Hurricane Helms.
It's stupid booking. But let's continue.
All right. And now here's the card for Bound for Glory. Got Lashley if it happens, might we add. If Corgan can come up with the money, since he's the only one giving any money to TNA.
Someone buy some Smashing Pumpkin records on Apple now.
Well, I can go to FYE and probably buy some right now, and I would probably. Lashley versus EC3 for the title.
I hope EC3 goes over.
Oh, I do. I love EC3. I think he's arguably the best heel that they would have if they actually would push him as a heel. Miracle versus Moose. I'm hoping for the Miracle to win.
I think it's too soon. It's a waste of a segment. It's going to hurt both guys.
Yeah. Then you have the Hardys going against Decay.
Finally took too long. I think it's going to hurt both teams because no matter how it ends, it hurts both teams.
And then you have Maria versus Gail Kim for the title.
I want Maria to go over as Gail Kim needs to retire.
And we'll get more on Gail Kim in a second. For the new title, Galloway versus Sandow.
It's going to be Galloway just so Sandow can go over as a face later.
And then finally the last two anticipated points, Cody Rhodes' debut.
Which is going to be good. I'm going to enjoy it.
And Gail Kim getting inducted into the TNA Hall of Fame.
Again? I thought they already did that.
Nope, it's going to happen today. It's going to happen at Bound for Glory next week.
Is her husband going to do the buffet?
I wonder. What are you looking forward to on SmackDown or Lucha Underground this week?
I know Rey Mysterio is going to be the ref. I know it's going to be a match. Anything on Lucha Underground is better than what's been put on SmackDown.
Either Chavo or Dragon Azteca?
Dragon Azteca is probably going to go over, but they're building for Chavo to apparently train him, so we might have Chavo go over.
Yeah, to go against Pentagon Dark. Yeah. And then ROH, hopefully it'll be a good show again.
It always is, every week. Check it on the website. Even though Mark thinks it should be on a real channel, because Pop's a real channel.
Yeah, I just want it on a better on more than just online.
Get a better internet connection. It'll be fine.
Oh, I have plenty of internet connection. I just need to remember to watch it. All right. Well, you've been listening to the Cast of Champions. I'm Mark at BCB Mark Media.
Slack and Crack and Robert, hit me up on Twitter.
Also, you can find us on Cast of Champions on Twitter. The O is actually a 0. And you can find us on Boldcastify on Facebook. And for general news, you can go to Boldcastify on Twitter. Or for sports news, Bcastify Sports. Thank you for tuning in. You've been listening to the Cast of Champions.
YOLO.